I am nothing like the first speaker. I'm not intelligent. I'm not corrupt. I'm certainly not in PR. Which corruption and PR get together. But I did write down some really like silly notes when I was listening to this. Like main points to me was Starbucks first of all, pure evil, make you buy into their product, make you give them money and encourage you to be lazy. Polls, lots of polls up there, they're all bollocks. Corruption, politics in China goes all the way to the top, so even the policy at the top sounds good, it's only there to benefit the people at the top. And the story is compelling, and I'm going to tell you my story in just a few seconds. Sorry to start.
I might repeat your talk after as well.
Right, so I can start my talk with this, which is ADD, right? Because I suffer from ADD, I'm fortunate enough to have ADD, so I failed everything at school, and this is what I was told, the reason at school I would fail everything. These are actually my superpowers, I was put at the beginning, especially being immature, which is one of my more proud ones. Right, so I'm to me 17 years old. By the way, this normally takes me 40 minutes, so I'm going to do it a bit like I'm on cocaine, which is a more, probably better product than Starbucks. When I was 17, 18, I travelled the world for 3 years before I arrived in China when I was 19. I've been here since, I've been here nearly 20 years now, and I came here as a backpacker. I got my first job in Mongolia as a translator riding a horse, and we'll just get to the story. Right, so t-shirts are all over the world, you see them everywhere, people sell them. 2005, I saw an opportunity. As you do as a Westerner here, you see a lot of market opportunities. No one did good t-shirts in Beijing, there are all these crappy little kind of panda ones, or I climbed the Great Wall, a really shit t-shirt, right? So I thought, well, how could I change this t-shirt to make it more Beijing, more interesting? I haven't done design before, I haven't done drawing or anything like that. So I saw these signs, you see them everywhere in Beijing, it's like green hills on the background with things just plastered on the top. I think green hills and blue sky can sell anything in China. So like this is a Muslim restaurant, you put some sheep on there because you eat sheep. You know, a couple of people that look like they're from Xinjiang, and you've got a sign. So my very first t-shirt, and start of my brand, I took a woman in a bikini and put her on the top of the icon inaugural t-shirt. Right, this was my worst ever selling design, but it was the start of my whole brand. And it was just this idea that I had one day I said I'm going to do it, and that's the thing about being an entrepreneur is you have to do things. Otherwise you never get anything done. You've got to simply be brave and push ideas forward, no matter how ridiculous they might be. This was the pang that started my brand. From this one bad idea came a business that I started with £4,000. Within 2.5 years I was turning over $1 million a year. And great return on investment, as business types would say. Right, here's my logo. So what we did, we took iconic things from around the city. This is a building plate on all the buildings in Beijing. You've got this, you've got the address written here and a number written there. We take that and then we create the logo, Plastered. Plastered, the name's quite obvious why we call it Plastered. We put an 8 there because 8 in China means wealthy. Money, ba, fa, right? Okay, here's my first ever big selling design. I've sold thousands of these, probably over 20,000 of this particular design. Beijing subway ticket, I changed it a bit, trademarked this design by changing the subway logo slightly, and that nice little slogan, courage is never letting your actions influence. Here's, as an entrepreneur, you really have to live by that one. People always around you will tell you you're not going to succeed. You do t-shirts, how you can make money in the winter, blah blah blah. There's always bottlenecks, always troubles. People don't really give you great ideas, do they? They just give you, a lot of people give you negative kind of feedback. It's probably not going to work. You have to be very, very courageous. Right, here's some of my designs. We take food tickets, mugs. This mug says socialism is great. Right, a laugh from over there, but it is. Here's another design that says women can be heroes. I took this from an old propaganda post. A lot of guys buy these for their girlfriends to say, I understand you. A lot of girls buy them for their boyfriends to say, listen to me. It's a big seller. Here's an idea of how some of the designs work. We take things, everyday objects, an old thermos. I took this 4 years ago. My neighbour threw it out. We turned it into design. We put Beijing next to it. This is another big seller for us. A pot that I used to wash my face in back in 1993. These were common wedding presents. Made those into t-shirts too. Old taxi stickers, all kinds of stuff. Here's a Chinese entrepreneur who's spraying something on a tree. Now he's a plumber. He'll come fix your pipes if you call that number. So you take something new, which is a form of illegal advertising, you take something old like Mao Zedong and one of his very famous sayings, which is serve the people, add a phone number at the bottom and you've got something old and new together. So that's another way that we kind of play with stuff like that. And the more illegal advert stickers we make into t-shirts too, this one, you can call the number, you get fake ID, that is my number. These are more designs, we're getting through this design stuff, here we're getting more design. Building the business, here we go. This is my location in 2005. It's now probably the most busy retail street in Beijing, but we opened the first shop in it, and £4,000, got the shop open, so I had a lot of trouble. There was no people on the street, so I had a crap location, and I didn't really have any money. So there's the street then. There's the street now, taken from the same spot. It's now one of the busiest retail streets in Beijing. Here's our current shop, ever changing, being in the creative business, always changing. This 8 The front of it changes every 5 days. T-shirts, new T-shirts every 15 days. Posters on the wall change every 30 days. Everything continually changes, otherwise you lose your customers. Right, here we go, an iconic wall. This is like the old toilets in Beijing used to have these tiles on the outside. There's the women's, there's the men's, there's the women's T-shirts, the men's T-shirts, blah, blah, blah. So it's more iconic stuff. Stickers, that's how I started my very first advertising campaign. Rude words. At the bottom I wrote, this word was brought to you by Plastered T-shirts. We stuck them in lifts, in offices, toilets, restaurants, anywhere. Here was my first walking campaign. The local nutter that lived on the street where my shop was, he walked up and down the street, laughed and talked with everybody all day. I gave him a T-shirt, had my sign on it. He didn't wash it for almost 3 months. And then he wore it, but that was a very effective campaign. Then what I did was I held a catwalk show working with my community. I've always worked with the community where I am, we're a community brand. With the community, I held a fashion show on the Hutong. We blocked off the Hutong. We weren't allowed to do it. The police said no, the district government said no, but in China if they say no but then turn a blind eye, it means you can do it. So we did it, and of course they all turned up, watched the show, they really enjoyed it. And why have I got this? Oh God, I'm confused now. No, this is, the reason I've got this here is because what we did is we invited media. We invited media to the fashion show, not by just sending them a stupid email burst or a letter. We targeted the 10 most important media, the editor for the Chinese equivalent of Vogue. We got online, got into social networks, decided, found out what he liked to do. He ate pizza every single weekend. We made him a pizza. You open up the pizza box, inside was an 8 made out of pepperoni on the pizza itself, and there was my face inside the box with a little speech bubble saying, "My name's Dominic, will you come to my fashion show on inaugural?" We had the 10 most important media in China all come to our event because we gave them personalised presents. We even sent one guy a dildo. Honest to God. There's the video when we did that. Right, so here's the show itself. We had all the fashion models going up and down the street. We gave torches to people in the audience. Then after that I held the very first, what would you call it, cultural festival on the Hutong again, working with the local government, working with the community to build sustainable business. Here we go, here's the little show that we had there. Here's the local fan dancers in my community. Every community in Beijing has a DUEQI, a residence committee. They have some fan dancers. They did this for me for free. Every weekend for 2 months they went outside my shop in these T-shirts and danced for me for free. Why? Because I did English volunteering at the local residence committee. So it was like a little trade of goods. Here's the lady that works in my shop. All the ladies that work in my shops in Beijing and Shanghai are all old retired ladies. Why? Because they're local matriarchs of that community, and all the people we employ in our shops are from the local community. Here's me with my local community. There's my kids and everything doing there, and there's my membership in local government. Here's some of the media that we made it into. Here's me, oh, I got invited on the TV show, which was another media stunt. This woman's a famous Chinese woman, like Winfrey. She invited me onto a show. What did I do? Something really immature, getting back to my superpowers. I had that T-shirt with my telephone number on. She gets about 50 million people that want to watch her show. I sent her a gift beforehand with a T-shirt saying, if you wear one of my T-shirts on the show, you'll change my life. To get onto a show, 2 weeks later, she's wearing a T-shirt that I made her saying, it says Gongbai Jing, which means spicy chicken and peanuts. And I wear a T-shirt that says Shou Ya, which means I will buy you second-hand drugs, which is another scam you get on the street, with my telephone number on it. She pointed it out on the show. She said, is that your telephone number on your T-shirt? I said, yes. Suddenly 40 million people knew my telephone number, and that's how I got my very first wholesale customers, was through that media stunt. And from that, of course, then all the media turned into a snowball effect, and then I made it as a regular onto all these different Chinese TV shows. Here we go, another marketing stunt, the Go team, you might have heard of them. They came into town, and I went to a private room where they were eating dinner. I smashed down the door, walked in with my T-shirts like I was selling feather dusters, and introduced them to them all, and they chose like 5 T-shirts each. I had them delivered to the hotel room with personal notes and little things that I painted for them. And the next day, they had the show. The lead guitarist wore one of my T-shirts. This made it into a newspaper in London, then a new T-shirt brand in London, then bought my licensing rights for the UK. So my little 900 price stunt turned into about £30,000. So you can see how just being impulsive and being a little bit immature or just having a bit of fun can sometimes turn into some real money. Then we had the third catwalk show, which was then sponsored by the government and all paid for. We had CCTV filming it, and we had about 500 people turn up to our third catwalk show. Going from the first one, we had about 50. You can see how many people were at that show there. So it sort of turned into a mainstay for the Hutong, and we managed to build the Hutong into a more popular place. These are the festivals that we hold now. There's my shop now. What we do now is we have a live window. We have rock musicians. We have people dressed. We have men dressed as women in the window promoting their brands, and it's like a live window display that we do on weekends. Within how much time? 5 minutes? No idea.
7 minutes.
7 minutes, right. Then what we did is we paired up with Chinese rock music. Rock music, I love rock music. It helps your brand kind of go back down underground. We became very popular after 3 years. We became quite commercial, so I went back to my passions, my roots, the things I love, which was rock music. We teamed up with the biggest rock bands in Beijing. We said, how many t-shirts you sell in a year? About 100 from our gigs. I said, I can do 10 times as much as that, and I'll share the profits with you, straight down the middle. So we signed up all the rock bands, PK14, and we signed up artists to do artwork for the rock bands. There's a PK14 t-shirt, there's another one, Wuliao Zhongdui, there's another one, Car Sit Cars. Then we held a big rock show. We gave away half of the tickets for free to students from this side of town because they can't afford the rock show. We had around 1,300 people at the show, and we actually made money from the show as well. We had the 3 biggest bands as well as some university bands we brought in. It was the Plastered Rock Weekend, and it was to kind of show off our t-shirts and our rock t-shirts. Here's some pictures from the gig. Then going on to being creative as an entrepreneur, at least for my business, always having to create. China's the ultimate country for creating. If you've got an idea, you can make it happen here very quickly with a very small amount of money. Here's one of them, very quickly. My daughter said she'd been to a church, I don't know why, and she'd seen some stained glass windows. So I thought about stained glass windows, and I thought, Mao, of course, right? Because in England, a stained glass window is Jesus Christ, he's the icon. But in China, here's the Jesus Christ, it's Mao. So I thought, how can I take Chinese leaders and make them into stained glass windows? I signed up 4 graphic artists. I gave them about 150 quid each. I said, create a Mao stained glass, another guy, a different leader, blah, 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 blah. So then we end up with, a week later, the 4 images. Here's Mao as a stained glass window done by a local artist. And a t-shirt. There's Deng Xiaoping, who was responsible for all these economic reforms while you were here. And there's a stained glass window. We made it into real stained glass windows. How did that happen? I got online, Google stained glass windows China, met a guy, sent him the images. 3 weeks later, a handmade stained glass window of Deng Xiaoping. It's in the back of my shop. And we sold those stained glass windows at an art fair for about £2,000 each. Lei Feng, again another icon, a great icon from the sort of 70s, 60s, into a stained glass window. And they all made it into other products like coasters, t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. But from having the idea to getting the artists, the artwork, the stained glass windows, the whole process was about 3 weeks. You can get your ideas made very, very quickly. People have a great work ethic here, they work very hard. Here's another example, teaming up with local tattoo artists. I gave them an idea, I said take communist revolutionary opera, which is how they did opera and ballet here in the 1960s, and make it into a tattoo piece of artwork. She did, and this is it. This is our biggest selling design last year. I simply gave her some images, I gave her an idea, she put in some tattoo, she put in these beautiful sexy women. They've got a grenade and a gun, and then a Mao saying at the top. This is our biggest seller in Shanghai and Beijing and online for the last sort of year and a half. And it came just through meeting a local tattoo artist and having a few drinks for that. And there's some more tattoo designs, Lei Feng. Then what happened, the tattoo designs were picked up by Zippo lighters. They saw them, they liked them, they commissioned me to make 5 Zippo lighters, made quite a lot of money from it, just from a simple kind of creative idea. So then suddenly we had tattoo artwork from Plastered on Zippo lighters, which was a great thing for us. How do we source our artists? Through online platforms like Neochar and Edge, where people put up their stuff. So we have a whole kind of web of designers from all over China who design for us. We're also talking about empathy. Work with children's charities. We've given between 5 and 10% of our profits every year to children's charities. That's some of the children's charities we work with. Here's an orphanage that we sponsor as well. And here's one of my favourite bits. Here's Prince Andrew, the royal dickhead from England, giving me, I won British Entrepreneur of the Year in 2008, can you believe it? Wait. And before that, I never won a prize in my life. So what did I do? Prince Andrew, before the show, was very rude to me and ignored me in front of my mum. Believe it. Wanker. So then I got on stage and insulted him in the speech, and then got the picture at the end with the ambassador at the time. We've got a new ambassador now, Sebastian, who's a great guy. This guy was also a good guy. That's the ambassador, all the winners, me and Prince Andrew and I. You can't really see it there, but I'm flicking a sort of rock star V, as if to say screw you. And then the next day, it made it into a Chinese newspaper, just to show you Chinese media here. What do? They cut off my arm and replaced my head. You can see there, I'm not smiling, I'm doing like that. And then now we've got the so took this, I sent it to British tabloids and things like that, and tried to make a bit of a media stir. You can make a stir out of anything, even a bit of this. So that's about it really for me. I mean, it's very short. I could have gone on for another like 45 minutes. But the point is here, impulsive, having fun, being passionate, pushing an idea, putting all your heart and soul into it, and creating a nice, sustainable business that works with its community, gives money to charity, and creates new markets, and competes with the big wanker corporations who are taking over the world. That's all. Thank you very much.